Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the show that is simply entitled Mike's Daily Podcast. I think you probably heard that name before if you've listened to this show. My name is Mike Matthews, and I let my rhyme flow. They rhyme flow out of my brain, and I do these things. It's insane, and it's episode 2237 today, and the show's called Mike's Daily Podcast. I'd like to apologize up front. Apparently, I had a podcast recently where the name of the show was Mike's Daily. Well, that's the name of the podcast. But the name of the particular episode. Episode. As you know, I name every show a one-shot thing, a one-name title, and a recent show was entitled Exclusive. And somebody that I know who has never listened to the podcast before, even though we have known each other a long, long time and have talked about the world of podcasting and how it's growing slowly, but it's growing. And he finally listened to one of my podcasts, and it was only because the title was Exclusive. And he listened to it and he goes, Mike, there was nothing exclusive about it. I thought there was going to be some big exclusive bit of news, and I was underwhelmed. I was not happy, and I am sorry that you had those high expectations. Apparently, I'm some kind of news-breaking machine. My name is Rupert Murdoch, and I know all the news that's happening in the world, and I'm breaking it here on this show. No, it was exclusive because of, I don't know, there was some story that had the word exclusive in it, so I just used it. That's the kind of podcast this is. I'm a simple man. I live in Podcaster Valley. We're broadcasting from Podcaster Valley 10 today, the last place on earth, cafe anyway, and I'm sorry I underwhelmed you on the show, but that's all right.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Is the late, great Basil the Boxer. Look, I have only talked about Basil's passing on the podcast. I don't post it on the social media. I don't say R.I.P. my dog, whatever. And I understand some people do that. And I don't like it because then people write underneath it this, that, and the other thing, and it looks like a popularity contest, and I don't like it. So I just want to say that this is Basil the Boxer. 10 years ago, when he was just about a year and a half old. Oh, so young. No gray in his muzzle yet. Matching the wonderful hardwood floor. And I have to brag a little bit, and I never brag. I'm not one of those people. One of those people that talk about themselves. And somebody said to me today in a very interesting thing, said, you know, men, when they talk to each other, all it is trying to one-up each other. There's no camaraderie. There's no sharing of minds. Like women emotionally will share valuable information to each other that helps them grow. It's a healthy conversation. It's a healthy back and forth. Men don't have that. That's why it was a bad idea. And the Bay of Pigs happened because a bunch of men got in a room and talked to each other. And a thing happened that psychologists found called groupthink. And we did that. Men invented that groupthink. It's not a good thing. It's a horrible thing. It causes you to make terrible decisions. John F. Kennedy realized that and said, next time we have a major crisis, this isn't going to happen again. So when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, he did things to avoid the groupthink, and I forgot what those were now. But if I think about it, maybe I'll remember. Anyway, cafe anyway. Men are always just trying to one-up each other. I don't like, for the most part, most men, and this is true, I know this is a man, don't do the sharing a conversation thing well. Sharing of minds, sharing of emotions. It's not very healthy conversation usually. Although we do the projects together and we have a common purpose, and it's a team. If we're in team mentality mode of something for the greater good, then yes, then it's good. But just average guys in a bar talking, it's not good. Do you agree or disagree? 336 MM Daily. I might be completely wrong. I might have missed Earth Day. Yes, I did not celebrate Earth Day, and I guess I did in a way. I went outside. But the rest of the thing wasn't anything celebrating Earth Day, and so I don't know. Cafe anyway. I just didn't do it this year. But we should remember the Earth. You know who is very big on climate type things is Christopher Eccleston, the man who played Doctor Who, the Ninth Doctor. Although now, because of stupid Chris Chibnall, we don't know what doctor is what anymore. Because apparently there have been millions and millions of doctors. They just keep, when one dies, a new one pops up, and it wasn't a finite number like we used to have. There was a rule in the world of Doctor Who that by the 13th, was it the 13th or the 12th? Now I'm losing my 11th. There was a finite number. I forget what it is. I'm American. I'm allowed to forget these things. If you're British, you have to remember all of this. This is part of your upbringing. Here, when I was growing up as a kid, the only way to watch it was you had to have some kind of crazy unbent out hanger, some kind of wire contraption attached to your TV to try and get that VHF channel, not the UHF, but the VHF channels that were way up there, hard to get. And then you could watch and see, oh, look, who's this guy with the curly hair? Oh, that's Tom Baker. He's the fourth Doctor. But now we don't know what Doctor's what number anymore because Chris Chibnall messed up the whole mythology in the recent season. To which there is this guy with a really thick Scottish accent who just completely lambasts Chris Chibnall and the way Doctor Who is going. And he's got this really dry, oh, I don't like the way this has been doing. What are they doing with everything? It's terrible. This show has gone to crap. And then he also he did a review of Wonder Woman 1984. I don't need to see that movie anymore. I'm glad I listened to him first before trying to watch it because it looks terrible. Let's see, there's a fight scene in a mall. Oh yeah, because it's the 80s and everything happened in a mall. Thank you, Stranger Things, for bringing that up too. There's a big fight in a mall in that one, although that was good. That crazy looking monster made out of people's bodies. The Wonder Woman thing looked like some kind of fight with their lasso. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton. And Kristen Wiig. Why is Kristen Wiig just playing the same character every movie? Okay, she's done a couple serious movies. But wow, it just looks like the same stuff she was doing in Bridesmaids, this character. And then she's the cheetah, I think. Because that was like the early nemesis of Wonder Woman when they first started the comic books back in, the 30s? And then Chris Pine magically comes back, and there's this villain that's just some bleached-haired goofball. It's supposed to be Trump. I don't know. But I'm glad I didn't watch it. So Christopher Eccleston, who was the Ninth Doctor, is going to reprise his role as the Doctor in a Theater of the Mind audio drama play thing. I don't know what to call it because I'm an American and we don't have these things. We have podcasts that do sort of that Theater of the Mind thing, like a guy talking on his podcast standing outside of some cafe somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton, the last place on earth, that kind of Theater of the Mind stuff. But we don't really do, like in England, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That was a radio play before it was a television show. And then it was a book. And that's how I first found out about it, was the book. And Douglas Adams wrote this. And Douglas Adams accurately predicted the smartphone and all the amazing things it would do in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy before we started using it. And what else? Oh, then they made a movie with Sam Rockwell, Zooey Deschanel, and Martin Freeman, right? So all that to say that Christopher Eccleston will be reprising his role as Doctor Who, the Ninth Doctor, which is amazing because to us Doctor Who fans, we never thought he would do that. Because he just never every time somebody brought up Doctor Who, he changed the subject immediately. Yet, in this question and answer video that he put on YouTube recently, Big Finish put on YouTube, he gets questions and somebody said, how do you feel about, being the Doctor again? Because you never wanted to be the Doctor. And he goes, no, that's not true. And so it's magical. It's good I'm glad I got work because here we are in lockdown because the coronavirus is so bad and I'm getting work and I don't have to be on a set because there are no sets because of the coronavirus. So I'm inside of a studio and I get paid. Oh, and the script's pretty good. But no, I never said that about the Doctor. Oh, yes, you did. There's all kinds of YouTube video about you, Christopher. We understand. You have a conflicted feeling about being the Doctor. That's fine. Somebody asked him about his leather jacket. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. I can't do a northern accent. Shoot. He's got the best accent. He's going to be great in this audio play. I guess it's out now. This audio, whatever you call it, show. So, Christopher Eccleston. There you go. He's going to be the Doctor again. Just so excited about that. He's on a little thing, Big Finish, which that can't exist in America. It's an English thing. It's so amazing how that works over there and not here. All right, let's zip through some stories real quick, shall we? Because we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. So we covered the Earth Day exclusive word that I misused. Wonder Woman, Christopher Eccleston. New study found working from home does make you more productive. I know that for a fact. When I go to work, I work with a lot of great people, but they like to talk because we're in radio and we talk. We're talkers, especially because I work for a talk radio station. So there you go. And they talk and talk and talk, and I can't get work done, and I'm very polite. I don't like to look at a computer screen when someone's talking to me, and I would like to do work, but they're standing off to the side, and I have to look over there instead of looking at my computer screen. It's annoying. So when I'm at home, I can make a lot more work done. The study found that the American economy is seeing a 5% boost in productivity from the remote work, mostly thanks to people saving time on commuting. And also that they're not yip-yapping all the time with people that just walk into their office. Oh, by the way, my office at work is right at the juncture between the two halves. We've got the radio side with all the studios, and then on the other side, we've got all the executives and the salespeople and all that. So whenever anybody has to cross my path talking to, I get people from both departments talking my ear off constantly. So working from home, where I don't have that, I get so much done. And that works for me because I'm getting more and more and more stuff handed to me constantly. But I'm a team player, and I like to talk about team. I'm in a team, and I work for a common good to get the project done. There aren't enough rental cars for all of those tourists who are visiting Hawaii now. Yes, last podcast we talked about that, how tourism has gone up, and it was really bad during the coronavirus because they weren't letting people into Hawaii. Some people have started renting U-Hauls to drive around on their vacations in Hawaii. I rented, when I went to Hawaii about 12 years ago, one of those brand new VW Bugs, those things that VW was trying to bring back, the Beetle or Bug or whatever. And that was a lot of fun. I'll never forget that car. It was a lot of fun to drive around Hawaii, and it had a good view, panoramic. I could see as we were driving, we could look around. It was very nice. The Pfizer vaccine provides protection against the coronavirus for at least 10 weeks, one dose. And I guess they're saying the one dose would be the one shot. Or is that both shots? America is experiencing a nationwide chicken wings shortage. Okay, people have been eating more wings during the pandemic because they're easy to order and take home. FBI arrested an online dater for bragging about storming the Capitol. Yes, let the stupidity be caught on social media. Well, in this case, it was a Bumble app. His Bumble app read, "I did storm the Capitol and made it all the way into Statuary Hall." And he got arrested. Dummy. Mega Millions. Oh, who cares about that? I guess that was at $227 million. And then there was a Powerball today at $104 million. But now that's getting really timely. And when you're listening to this podcast eons from now, that ain't gonna mean nothing. Hey, cheese. Say cheese. Have you heard of queso manchego? Oh, did I say that wrong? Did I pronounce that wrong? Hey, I heard from Sylvia, who is a big fan of this podcast, maybe my only podcast listener, and she gave me a great recipe. She heard I was leaning more vegetarian these days. And she had a recipe that sounded pretty darn good. It was a slow cooker vegan recipe that involved, it was for sweet potato chili is what it was. And you chop up the sweet potato. It's got green peppers, bell peppers, lots of seasoning. You have to brown the bell peppers, and you cook the sweet potatoes for hours or something, and it's good. I don't know. I don't know. Just look up slow cooker vegan sweet potato chili low salt recipe on YouTube. Queso manchego. A cheese must satisfy the following requirements for queso manchego. It must be produced within the designated parts of the provinces of La Mancha region, Albacete, Ciudad Real, Cuenca, and Toledo. It can only be made with whole milk, the whole milk of sheep of the Manchega breed, raised on registered farms within that area. It must be aged for a minimum of 60 days, and it must be pressed in a cylindrical mold. And then you know you've got Manchego cheese. Wow, that's fascinating, Mike. What other interesting bits of news can you tell me? Bad leaders are prone to make on-the-fly decisions that conflict with previously established policies and procedures. Have you ever had a boss like that completely contradicts himself, herself from something they had said before? They are not on the same page as others, but it doesn't bother them. If bad leaders were baseball pitchers, they would give the nod to throw a strike and then would throw a curveball. I don't know what that means. I have no sports prowess whatsoever. Baseball, I waste no time watching baseball, football, basketball, whatever. Anything in a court. I don't even watch people's court. Hey, this is from the book by E. Arthur Self, PhD, Good Success, Learning Good Lessons from Bad Leaders. That's inconceivable. Inconsistency can destroy an organization's success. Consider the tale of Bill Knapp's family restaurant chain. Just the name makes me think of bean soup, Greek burgers, and au gratin potatoes. Bill Knapp's existed from 1948 until 2002 as a model of consistency for mid-market casual dining in the Midwest. The food was not only well priced and tasty, but it was also incredibly consistent from restaurant to restaurant. If I liked a menu item at one Bill Knapp's, I could get exactly the same tasting item in a different location. There was an appealingly consistent flavor, texture, color, aroma, and serving temperature of all of its food products, but especially to the bean soup. That's such an old person thing, bean soup, isn't it? either because the soup was cooked at a central commissary or the chefs at the various units strictly adhered to recipes and standards, the consistency and value of the bean soup was assured. Today, the consistency of bean soup at Bill Knapp's and the inconsistency observed in bad leaders seems far apart, but in fact they are not. The consistency and predictability of Bill Knapp's were its distinct competitive advantages. When the chain lost these, it lost its place in the market. So you have to be like bean soup. I hope you've learned something from today's podcast. Hey, by the way, you can catch me on my radio show. I'm going to be playing music, and you can catch me tomorrow between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Catch me, and I will be caught by you. It happens every Sunday. Find the link at MikesDailyPodcast.com. You can call me at 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast has in the title, but doesn't necessarily do. Although I'm working at it. I've just been busy. But I know you understand. Things happen. Life gets in the way. Life gets away from us all, said, what's his face? Not Clint Eastwood. Who was the singer? The country singer. Oh my gosh, it's been that long? Lisa Hartman Black. Clint Black, thank you. Wow. Had to go a long way to get to that. It's been a long time since I did country radio. Wow. Oh, it's been so long. Listen, thank you for listening to this podcast. And, yeah, look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. How dare you forget Clint Black, although it's okay if you forgot Earth Day, because that's for hippies.
Disgruntled Fiddle Player, you forgot to say, tell you what.
Oh, yeah, tell you what.
What?
The aforementioned thing.
Okay, we got to the aforementioned thing, and look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make the least root beer has
Excellent. Well, we covered a lot on today's podcast, and I need to wrap it up because I need to produce it and then upload it, and then I got to get the heck out of here. So thank you for listening to Mike's Daily Podcast, MikesDailyPodcast.com, the website to catch past podcasts. There's even a search bar now that you can look up particular topics that I've covered in past shows, or maybe there's been a guest that you heard that you'd like to find out what that podcast is. You can type in their name and bingo, you might find it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Take us out, A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!